daily read time. I'm going to give you a read from Michael Connelly's Resurrection Walk with the Lincoln Lawyer, the new Lincoln Lawyer book, and I'll be reading from it.
What?
Kidding.
Oh. I was like, wait a minute,
Sister
what?
Wives.
I was like, where's our sister wives?
Kidding, get right to it. We're in Janelle and I had a rant. I'll try to keep my rant down.
No, rants are good.
Where was I? Oh yeah, okay, over here. Okay, once the bond between, this is Janelle, she's upset that she thought Christine would come in and it would be fine with them, but she became friends with Mary. That made her even more mad.
Yeah.
Wonder why she's so friends with Janelle now. Oh yeah, TLC money.
TLC money, just to piss Cody off.
Once the bond between Christine and Mary was cemented, Mary had much less difficult to get along with. Our lives became more peaceful. I got a decent job at a government agency with good pay and started to feel a little more confident about my career path. While Cody and I still hadn't eased into what most would call be considered a conventional marriage, one based on romantic love, we had developed a high functional relationship. We communicated well with the other and we complimented each other on an intellectual level. I think you're lying about that a little bit.
Just a smidge. I think she's fudging it to make the book sound good.
Not long after I had Logan, Christine and Mary each bore their first children, Aspen and Mariah. We started off on the greatest adventures of our life, parenting an ever-growing brood of wonderful kids. A greater sense of camaraderie sprung out of raising our children together. Becoming parents as one family became the most essential part of our lives and the most defining trait of our family. I think that when Christine and Mary had their first children, they began to understand me a little better. After I had Logan and before my sister wives had kids on their own, they didn't understand why I was tired so much of the time. They didn't understand my priorities. They thought I was complaining too much about trivial things such as not having enough time to shower, to do dishes, to run errands. However, once their children were born, they were able to empathize with the challenges of motherhood and how having a child can complicate the simplest of things. Once they grasped this, they were more willing to help me out. We were able to lean on one another and help to accomplish little tasks of motherhood makes difficult, cleaning errands, talking on the phone in peace. Mm-hmm. Oh, so they weren't wanting to help you out before that?
Not until they had kids of their own, they realized, oh my gosh.
For the most part, Mary and Christine and I were able to put aside our differences and create a warm and stable environment for our kids. We raised them as one family while they may have separate mothers. They do not think of themselves as anything other than full siblings. I love co-parenting kids. I was able to work while Mary and Christine homeschooled the children who weren't sent to our church school. I felt safe and secure knowing that while I was out of the office, my children were receiving precisely the education and care I wished them for. I never worried when my children were out of sight. I trusted Mary and Christine to handle every situation, to make all parental decisions in my absence. In this regard, we were one team. I didn't have to be called on whether to administer cold medicine or not. I didn't have to be called when Logan hit another one of the children. Christine and Mary handled it the way I would want them to be handled. It was lovely. When he was little, Logan was a daredevil. He got into everything. He was fearless. One afternoon, Mary had heated up some syrup and placed it on a pitcher on a counter. It was far out of the reach of our children. However, somehow Logan managed to rig up a contraption made of several chairs, which he climbed up to get his hands on the pitcher. He was too small to lift the pitcher and brought it crashing down on his head. The syrup scalded his forehead. Mary knew exactly what to do to minimize the burn. By the time I got home from work, there was only a small mark on Logan's face. When you have as many kids as you do, these small traumas are not all uncommon. Most of the time, when one of the kids gets injured, I wouldn't find out about it until I got home from the office. But then, everything would be taken care of by my sister wives. Which child had been hurt would be soothed, and the accident was already fading memory. My co-workers, most who didn't know I was polygamous, never understood why I was able to work late at a moment's notice. I always at a loss to explain why I was so flexible regarding my home life. They didn't understand why I was never stressed about daycare, grocery shopping, play dates, and doctor's appointments for my kids.
True.
They couldn't figure out why I didn't need to rush home to fix dinner, or why I never ever discussed what I was cooking. My co-workers thought that I had the easiest life imaginable. Some of them even wondered if I was secretly wealthy, if you can imagine that. I didn't explain my situation, but I did hint that I had the best babysitters in the entire world. From the day they were born, my children entered a rich, thriving environment of various outlooks to color the way they see and appreciate the world. For all their lives, they had the benefit of 4, now 5 parents to expose them to the wild range of different interests, talents, and opinions. I know that it is cliche to say it, but it truly does take a village to raise a child. My children have grown up in the best town in America. I'm not good at arts and crafts, and my cooking and baking skills are not anything to boast about. I always prefer to lose myself in work. So my major contribution to the family is financial and practical. Thankfully, my kids never suffered from having a mother who can't sew or bake. There are 3 other wonderful mothers in their lives who are creative and talented in areas which I am not. So my children never go without amazing Easter outfits or Halloween costumes.
That's kind of cool. I mean, there's a lot of the little things. I think the little things are make good.
If a birthday party were left up to me, I rush off to the supermarket on my way home from work and pick up a sheet of cake with greasy blue roses. Thankfully, I have Christine in my family, and she usually jumps at the chance to make something homemade. Even though Christine is extremely creative and generous with her time around the house, a lot of times she flies by the seat of her pants. She's so carefree and silly that she can often overlook the most basic details, such as the need to put gas in the car. I, on the other hand, am a worrier and planner. I make sister wives crazy. Yes, I was thinking, you must be super moms. Sister wives crazy with my plans and my contingency plans and my contingency plans. Although these differences do lead to conflicts, they make our household a fun, dynamic place. Even though I clash with Christine and Mary from time to time, I'm thrilled that my kids have the benefit of both their personalities. If they had grown up with just me, there would be so many things of which I wouldn't have exposed them. My sister wives have provided my kids with a wealth of experience, and they have helped me create 6 wonderful, well-rounded children. About 5 years into our marriage, after Christine had joined the family and things had settled down somewhat, Cody began to mature emotionally. This changed a lot to do with the fact that Cody started taking charge of his own decisions. When Cody was new to polygamy, he often sought the counsel of the elders who had grown up in the faith and now had pro-families of their own. Among those he turned to guidance were the members of Mary's family, obviously learning from those familiar with the faith and the principle crucial to Cody's development. However, no 2 families or situations are alike. Eventually, Cody had gathered enough guidance from the outsiders. He began to rely on what was in his heart instead of the guidance of others. His emotional maturity began to show. He began to make decisions confidently, and he asserted that what he wanted instead was what others told him he wanted. When this happened, he became a stronger leader in our household. He developed the confidence to take charge and stand on his own 2 feet. Should be in there?
It's up to you, kiddo. I was into it.
You're into it?
You want to keep going? Keep going.
I had a lot of responsibility with 3 wives and many little kids. He had grown into the profound sensitivity and consideration and the likes of which I'd never seen in any man.
The way she just speaks about him has just got me like, what?
I guess having 3 wives and many children taught him how to communicate with us in clear, loving ways.
Oh, gosh.
How could you go from that
right
and 210 to a freaking maniac in a few years?
Right, and just 10 years, you went to turned into a maniac, and you could see it through the seasons how it just went
postal.
Wow. Yeah, he went wow.
And he discovered how to devote himself to each of his marriages.
Except tell Rob and
She knows right here, this is 210, and Mary was already having problems with Cody.
Yeah.
She knows right here that Mary was having problems
That's
with Cody.
right. That's right.
And
he just started navigating with her better.
Yeah, with her better. He burst out of a fog in which he'd been wandering during those first tumultuous years. That fog when he was taking off with Mary up on the top of the mountains.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Where the fog is.
Yeah, uh-huh.
The clouds. Up with the clouds with Mary.
He was in cloud 9 with Mary.
This is crap.
You want to continue in your next reading?
Most sensitive and caring. Oh, wait. He burst out of a fog in which he'd been wandering during those first 2 months and became the most sensitive and caring husband and parent I could have thought possible.
Oh, now Janelle's laying
Without this maturation, our lives as one cohesive and coherent family would never have become what they are today.
Oh, gosh. And what do you think about that? Do you think she's laying it on a little thick?
A little thick.
Yeah.
Although Cody had matured significantly and was no longer naive, spontaneous, romantic, with Mary, leaves that off, such as with a large family, we still had trouble making ends meet. For much of the first decade of our marriage, I lived with either Mary or Christine. Our house was crowded and paying bills was always a challenge. We never had enough money no matter how hard we worked. This was the main point and contention and argument I had with Cody, and we were practically on top of one another in our small house, and there wasn't any room to breathe or think. Okay, I think we'll in here because
it's gonna get into the move and all that, right? Yeah.
Oh wait, let's get to the bottom. I also had a particularly nasty fight with Mary. One of the worst I ever had. I was at my breaking point. I thought that happened earlier with the makeup thing.
Yeah.
What?
That was the other breaking point.
Guess break more than once.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see my way out of my depression. I told Cody that I was leaving that night, and I got in the car and drove to my mother's house.
You mean Cody's dad's house?
I don't know where she went. Well, she was just suffering from depression, what do they call that? Postpartum depression.
It was,
and a particularly nasty fight with Mary, where you're already in your postpartum depression and you're already feeling cramped or whatever you said.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't her fault you had this nasty fight. Maybe you were just
chemically imbalanced.
Chemically imbalanced.
Because that happens during pregnancy and directly thereafter.
Right.
It does, yeah.
Right. And Mary only had one kid, so she wasn't going through all that stuff.
No, she wasn't having that issue.
So did you enjoy your read from Michael Connelly's
Sister Wives?
Redemption Walk?
Michael Connelly's Sister Wives Redemption Walk. That's pretty good. Are you going to refer to the whole crystal ball or?
Oh, the 8 ball?
The 8 ball, all right.
We're doing the 8 ball now.
Is Janelle laying it on a little too thick?
Let's see what the 8 ball has to say.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, outlook not so bright.
Oh.
Or not so, I can't read. It's dark.
It's dark, okay.
It doesn't
It says astrogate.
China stuff.
Mm-hmm. Is Janelle laying it on a little too thick? There it is.
Oh, there it is. I can't see that.
I know, it is hard to read.
Oh, here we go.
Definitely.
My sources say...
Yes.
Yes.
See? I knew it. I knew it. The magic 8 ball doesn't lie, folks. It's accurate. The magic 8 ball. You can get them down below. No, just kidding. We're not selling magic 8 balls.
Made in China.
Made in China.
China sells them.
Yeah, they do. This one was actually from 1998.
Yeah, that's why it don't work that well.
Yeah, we got to kind of Give it a really good shake.
All right. Hope you enjoyed the reading and I didn't go off on a rant like I did
Not at
this
all.
morning.
We like your rants. We'll see you soon, folks. Thanks for joining us.